The year was 1993. Somalia had become a war zone, torn apart by ruthless warlords who controlled the streets through fear and violence. Famine ravaged the country, and the United Nations had sent in peacekeeping forces to distribute food and aid. But the situation had spiraled into chaos. The United States launched Operation Gothic Serpent, a mission aimed at capturing the notorious warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid and his top lieutenants. Sergeant Daniel Carter sat inside the rumbling Black Hawk helicopter, gripping his rifle tightly. His unit, part of Task Force Ranger, had been briefed on their mission: storm a compound in Mogadishu, extract Aidid's men, and return to base before the city erupted. It sounded simple. It never was. Carter glanced at the men around him. Lieutenant Jack Evans, their commanding officer, checked his watch with a calm intensity. Next to him was Private First Class Harris, the youngest in the unit at only 19. His hands trembled slightly, though he tried to hide it. "You ready, kid?" Carter asked. Harris nodded, his face pale. "Yeah, just another mission, right?" Carter gave a small smile. "That's right. In and out." But deep down, he knew nothing about this mission would be easy. The streets of Mogadishu were a labyrinth of danger, filled with armed militia who viewed the American soldiers as invaders. The moment they hit the ground, hell would be waiting. The radio crackled. 1 minute out. Get ready. The city stretched below them, a mix of dust and destruction. Fires burned in the distance, and Carter could see the telltale glint of rifles positioned on rooftops. The warlord's men knew they were coming. The drop. The Black Hawks hovered over the target building. Ropes dropped, and the Rangers fast-roped to the ground. Dust swirled around them as boots hit the pavement. "Move! Move!" Lieutenant Evans ordered. Carter led his squad toward the compound's entrance, kicking down the door. Inside, Aidid's lieutenants scrambled to grab weapons, but the Rangers were faster. Within minutes, they secured their targets. "Package secured," Evans radioed. "Moving to exfil." Then, all hell broke loose. A rocket-propelled grenade, RPG, streaked through the sky, slamming into one of the Black Hawks above. The explosion sent the chopper into a violent spin, its tail breaking off before it plummeted into the city streets. "Black Hawk down. Black Hawk down," the radio screeched. Carter's stomach clenched. The mission had just changed. The streets turned to fire. "New orders," Evans said, his voice tight. "We're moving to the crash site." The streets were already swarming with militia fighters. Gunfire erupted from alleyways, bullets ricocheting off walls. Carter sprinted forward, ducking behind a burned-out vehicle. "Suppressive fire," he shouted. His squad opened up, covering the Rangers as they pushed forward. Ahead, the crash site was a scene of devastation. The Black Hawk's rotors were twisted wreckage, smoke billowing from its shattered frame. The crew inside was pinned, wounded but alive. Carter and his team moved in, dragging the injured soldiers from the wreck. Blood soaked the ground. Every movement was met with gunfire. "Where's the damn extraction?" Harris shouted, panic creeping into his voice. "They're pinned at the other site," Evans said. "We're on our own for now." Carter reloaded. "Then we hold. The longest night." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Mogadishu became a battlefield. The Somali militia kept coming, wave after wave, using the night to their advantage. Carter fired in short bursts, conserving ammo. Next to him, Harris breathed heavily, his hands shaking. "You good?" Carter asked. Harris forced a nod. "Yeah, just tired." A sudden explosion sent shrapnel flying, tearing into the Rangers' defenses. One of their men, Corporal Davis, was hit. "Medic," someone shouted. The combat medic rushed to Davis, but there was nothing to be done. Carter clenched his jaw. They were losing men, and the enemy wasn't stopping. "Hold the damn line," Evans shouted. They fought through the night. The city became a nightmare of fire and death. Every street was a kill zone. The militia was relentless, determined to wipe them out before reinforcements arrived. Carter was running low on ammo. He turned to Harris. "How many mags you got left?" Harris checked. 2. Carter sighed. "Make them count." The escape. Just before dawn, reinforcements finally arrived. Armored vehicles rumbled through the streets, their mounted guns cutting down the enemy fighters. The Rangers seized their chance. "Fall back to the convoy," Evans ordered. Carter grabbed a wounded soldier, hoisting him over his shoulder. The team moved, dodging gunfire, sprinting for the vehicles. The moment they reached the convoy, Carter climbed inside, gasping for breath. As they sped out of the city, he looked back. The skyline of Mogadishu was still burning. They had survived. Barely. Epilogue. Back at the base, Carter sat in silence. He had seen combat before, but nothing like this. The mission had been a disaster. They had lost good men. Harris sat beside him, staring at his hands. "We did what we could," he said quietly. Carter nodded, though the weight of the battle lingered in his chest. War was never simple. It was chaos, loss, and sacrifice. And in the end, no one truly won. He closed his eyes, hearing the echoes of gunfire in his mind. In war, the only victory was survival.